Hello, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystems.com, and we're going to do our Tuesday chart review. I'm going to try the video again and see how it goes today. I worked on the audio a little bit. Not sure if I got it fixed yet. We'll find out today at the end of this video if we did or not. But I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit because I think that's part of the problem is the video gets a little bit too lengthy, and then we have issues. So anyway, coming off the overnight, normally I want to show you how I find the trend line. The first thing I do is look for my trend lines. And prices would have been opening for the daily market right in here. So we would have already had all this price action in place and all this price action in place. And we start by drawing our trend line. We would have had one probably off of those first two swings there. And that looks pretty valid because look what happened. We had a trend line break, and then we had actually I like it better off of those two swings right there. And because that kind of held prices here and here and here. And look what happened. We finally got we got our first major break of the trend line right about here. And I guarantee you there's two measured legs down to a new low. And let me show you. Measure that first leg just like that. Let's back up here where we can see this a little closer. And then if you drag this leg over here, look how that's almost a perfect measured leg. And that's what I'm talking about two measured legs. There's several swings in there, but that's really two legs. Then actually there's a two-legged pullback. One, two, and then boom, there's your leg. And that actually was a second entry short up there on a nice entry. But that's prior to the open, so we're not that interested in that. But I wanted to show you that trend line. But let's find our trend line. The trend has kind of changed here, and that looks about right there. And if we back out a little bit, you can see that it did. Let's just get a bigger look here. You can see that line was affecting prices all day long, so it was kind of a valid line. Look how prices are on both sides. There's probably a center line where prices are taking moves off both sides, but really the trend got a little steeper here, and this would have been my trend, and that looks rather looks like the right trend line. Let's copy. This is what I usually do. I'll clone that line or copy it. And as you can see, when it's exact same angle and all of that, and I bet you if you move it up here to the top, what do you know? There it is. And you got yourself a nice channel. You actually probably you could have even put it up here, and you would have had the precise turns, but this was probably right, and we overshot it a few times. The market was strong. It was spending more time at the top of the trend channel than it was at the bottom. But if you could just find this trend channel every day, don't you think you could make money off of that? Look what happened every time prices touched that line or went above it and then reversed. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7. 7 or 8 times we're lying, and that's counter trend trading on top of that, which I don't recommend. But in this case, every time prices touch that upper line, if you just scalped a point, again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just say 6 times. That's 6 points, and most of those you could have got more than a point. And then the real ones that you want to get are the ones that touch the lower side. In this case, this would have been the best entry of the morning right here, because you would have, looks like I'm not sure if you would have got a runner off of that one or not, but I guarantee you there's probably a second entry in there somewhere. And but that's what I'm looking for right out of the gate. Let me show you a couple more quick arrow line two-legged moves. There's one, and if you just move that up, there's the other leg, and look how it's almost a perfect leg. And so even if you're just watching, even if you're watching for two legs, that's generally a good place to be. And yes, there's a lot of moves in there, but on a bigger picture, and maybe it helps you to back out like this so you can clearly see the legs this way. Leg 1 again, and then leg 2, and then you got your little pullback right in the middle there. And so that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about measured legs. So let's try to find some of the entries today and try to get through a few of those. Try to keep the video from getting too long today. I want to try to keep it around 10 minutes or so. But the open was right here at 8:30, and look what we've got right out of the gate. We've got a little double bottom here, and normally when I draw these lines, I draw them off the closes and where the lowest close was, and that was right here on that line. So I draw it there, but it's still a double top no matter what you do. And if you had your line drawn off these first two swings down here, then when prices bounce right there on a failed break below a little double bottom, even if you drew this right here, this is basically a double bottom, and you had a break below that. It's a congestion. Look at it. Look at all the overlapping bars. Remember our rule: 3 overlapping bars, and at least one of them's a doji. That's congestion, and we don't buy or sell breaks out of congestion, because look what happened when prices broke lower out of that congestion. All it did was trap shorts right there and then reversed. And this would have been a great place to go long right out of the gate this morning. So that's trade one. And I'm just circling it here to make it a little easier to see. But if you'd have gone long right there, you would have been long at 11 1/4. And yeah, any runners would have been safe right there. And I probably would have looked to exit at the high up here. Even if you'd have just got this high, 11 1/4 to 17, basically. That's 6 points. Right out of the gate this morning, there's a 6-point move that was very easy. It was a very easy entry and a very easy move based off a trap off a double bottom. And it's really a double bottom pullback as well, because here's your original double bottom. You'd already had your trend line break from this downsloping trend line, and then your two legs, one leg, two-leg pullback, and then your second leg. And so you could have been expecting a possible reversal. And a reversal doesn't always mean you're going to get a long-term trend to the other direction, but it means you're usually going to get at least a nice two-legged move, and a correction that lasts an hour or so. And that's about what we got here. This correction, I would say, started at right at the open, 8:30, and look, it lasted about an hour till about 9:30, and then prices sold off again. So, but that's trade one. Let's keep looking here. All right, here is probably would be my second trade. And what is this? This is another double bottom right there. I would have drawn my trend line across the closes there. But this is a two-legged move. Do you see that? One, two-legged pullback, and then two. And so that would have been a nice second entry long right there. Entries right here. This one was good for an easy scalp. Probably a little more. Let's see. Entry would have been 1750 and 1850 right there. Your runner would have been good all the way till it touched that line, and it's just safe you did stay in 1750 till you touch the upper line. 3 points, easy 3 points, and then look what happened when prices touched that line. It was a nice sell-off. You could have actually shorted that. I don't recommend or teach counter trend trading, but if you'd have known where these two lines were, you could have shorted off this highs all day long, and you could have bought these lows, and it would have helped you tremendously knowing where to enter and exit. But here's you something else. It's doubtful you would have had this trend line in place, because you wouldn't have had this swing yet. So you wouldn't have known for sure that prices were going to reverse here unless you came over here and drew this line first and then brought it down. And I do that a lot of times. If you came over here and drawn that line, you could have had it drawn up through here, and then you just copy it and slide it over, and you know about where prices are going to reverse. And let's look at this. A lot of times you can take a swing like this right here, and then bring this down here, and you would have looked for prices to reverse around this price, and look how close they got. They were a little late getting back there. There's different ways you can do these measured moves, but this is more congestion than anything. Look at all these overlapping bars. We started off with a nice move up, and then prices got overdone too quick. But really what's happening is we're waiting on this pullback to come back and test this important area, which is this trend line on this side. And there was actually, it's not a real good entry. Here's another nice second entry long, 2 legs back to the EMA. And let me show you this. There's leg 1. And look at leg 2, about the same size, and you can see the pullback right there. So that one leg down, pull back, and then the second leg down. So this is probably where I would have entered trade 3. There's always other trades that I don't mark. I like to mark the best setups, the ones that are easy to see, the ones that are sure things, and so forth. So there were probably some entries over in here. This was, you probably could have looked at this as a breakout pullback long right here. Actually, there's a trap right here. There's a second entry short, a trap that made a double bottom and then reverse. So you could have gone long right here above that bar and got another scalp. But again, I like to pick the best trades. And we've got a nice second entry long right here, a break above that bar. Your entry would have been 22.50. And prices went straight up to 27 and a quarter. So another 4 or 5 points right there. And if you rode that pullback out, I probably would have exited because we were so close to this. We were overshooting this line, and I may have exited right there regardless. You probably could have got another point or so out of it by staying in longer. But don't be greedy. When you get a good move out of it, take what you can get and look for your next entry. And that turned out to be a smart move here because prices did sell off. They did make a high of the day and sell off. But, here's a nice second entry short coming off this top. Let me show you this setup. Another 2-legged pullback right in here. Make this a little bigger. Let's just get this out of the way for now. Your second entry would have been right there, and look what we got. We've got a move down, a fairly bearish move down after a trend channel line overshoot, which means prices are probably overdone. And the way we know this was a pretty strong move is, look, it took out this low, it took out this low, and it came all the way down here. That's pretty bearish. And when you get a move that bearish, you're probably going to get a second leg that's of about equal length. And again, we take our arrow here, we draw that line, and we know about how long that is, and look at there. Nice equal move. So your target should be down here somewhere if you're going to exit after an equal move. But anyway, your entry's right here at 12.24, and this went down to 12.20, 21. So another 2 or 3 points right there. And let me show you this. You made a new low here. You had a low there, a low there. Each one of these lows started to count over, counting off the low. But there's the lowest point, so that's 0. You have your pullback, and you have your first entry was the break below this bar right here. And when prices broke below that, that's your first entry. Then they pulled back, and they actually broke higher again. And created a little double bar matching high there, and turned out that's a big bearish bar, and we already had this big leg, so we've got some trap longs there probably now. So entering right there below that bar is a great second entry short on a pullback to the EMA, and sure enough we get our next move down, and this one should be red because that's a short. So then look what we get when we get over here. Next trade's going to be a short right here. And the reason being is we had this is a pretty bullish move up here after those 2 legs down. So you could have actually taken a long here because on a bigger picture that would have been a second entry long. But again, we're trying to get the best trades, and we broke this trend line. This is a pullback to retest that line that seemed to hold, and prices reversed. And here's your new low, so your count 0. You come up here, there's your first break lower, and there's your second break lower. So you had a second entry short right here, or right here. Definitely probably should have taken it right there. First bar was a doji, so it was kind of questionable, but you could have taken that right there, and your entry would have been 24, and any runners would have been good. And look how this thing fell out of, it just fell off the page almost, all the way down to 12.11. So from entry 24 to 11 without much pullback. That trade right there on a single contract made you 10 points, about $500. So it doesn't take many of these trades, especially if you catch a runner. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 of the best trades today. And I'm going to do one more here. There really weren't any good entries here. Actually, I take that back. There was one good entry right here. You got a double bottom. You got a failed break higher right there, so you tried to go higher there, and they both failed. You've been going low at going short at a very low spot, but actually would have gone short right here. That's a breakout pullback short, but I don't even think I would have taken that one. It's too risky after such a move down. We know a reversal's coming, so we need a better setup than that. But look, the counts, we got a new low right here. The count's 0. You pull back. There's a first entry short. They tries to make a second leg, and there's a second entry short. And what do you got here? You got a double top. You got see those matching highs, and you got a break higher that's just a stem that traps some longs right there, and then prices reverse. So we want to go short right there. By going short right there, we get a second entry short after a huge bearish leg down. Prices are above the EMA, but the bias is still down at this point. Your trend line that you should have had in place by now was right down through there. So we hadn't really had a break of the trend line yet or anything. But there's your second entry short, and entry would have been 16 1/4, and that went all the way to 12 1/4. So another 4-point move. And so that's what we're looking for. Those two-legged pullbacks, breakout pullbacks. I'm just seeing if there's any more really good two-legged move pullbacks. This is one, but there's a lot of overlapping bars there. Here's one that looks there's still a lot of overlapping bars, but you got the failed break below a little double bottom, so you had a trap right there. So going long right here would have been okay, one tick above this bar. But it's really been kind of choppy to the trading range day, really. And let me show you this. I guarantee you there's a line right across here that alerted you to and you see that. And so if you had that line in place, this looked like a good place to go long until you see that right there. And then when you see that, the visual really pops out at you. So you got to remember to draw these lines, and then let's copy that down here, and then you pretty much know where the low spot is. And look what happened when prices came down here again. Boom, reversed and straight up. So today was really a range day. It started off looking really bearish, but can you see how it ended up as a range day? Here's the high of your range, and here's the low of your range. And if you just draw these lines on there, as the day moves along, it's better to take them off, because you don't want to get so many lines that you get everything out of whack. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Those were some of your good trades. There were obviously other trades, but those are the ones that looked really good that we had time to talk about. So we'll stop it there. And appreciate all the feedback. Most of the feedback has been positive on this new format, and we'll keep trying to do this every day. All right, this is Mac, and this is a wrap up of Tuesday's trading day.